Hello everyone, they call me Zay. Today we're going to be going back into Super Mario Galaxy and taking a look at some of the characters from this game. Of course, this wouldn't be Super Mario Galaxy without Mario. Throughout the years, Mario, much like other characters from other Nintendo video games, has been an avatar, a way for the character to interact with the world. Though Link is the most common example, Mario never really actually talks. Anytime he's trying to get a point made across to another character, usually he'll speak Italian gibberish so that you can insert the words that you would say in his place. Super Mario Galaxy gives us the exact same base for Mario, but considering the scale of the game, Mario feels a lot different. When you play most Mario games, you're probably sitting down to have a good time, to relax a little, to let your mind go numb. That's not really the reason you play Super Mario Galaxy. Sure, there are times where you don't really have to think about all that much, but there's some serious world building that goes into this game. As the world is built, you as the character notice it. You as the character noticing it means that Mario notices it. This isn't just you getting to the end of a level and getting a flagpole like it would be in the 2D Mario games, and it's even more complex than something like Super Mario 64 or Sunshine. I think the only 3D Mario game that even gets anywhere near this complex is Super Mario Odyssey. But even then, the world of Super Mario Galaxy is much more vast. You're exploring the depths of outer space, visiting galaxies that it's possible no other human has ever seen. This is a lot to take in for both the player and for Mario himself. This being said, even though the base Mario is the same character we've known and loved for so long, the experiences that he's partaking in are different than what he's used to. Now, the most obvious addition to the character roster in this game are the Lumas. There's lots of them, starting with the Yellow Luma. Yellow Lumas are the most common Lumas. This is probably because stars and the way that we humans look at the world are thought to be yellow, most likely because our sun is yellow. It's fitting that these star children, the Lumas, are yellow as well. Yellow Lumas are seen all over the place in Super Mario Galaxy, and have been seen outside of Super Mario Galaxy as well in things like the promotional art. Just look at the case of the game. Yellow Lumas are also seen in several other Mario games. In Mario Kart Wii, which was released less than a year away from Super Mario Galaxy, Rosalina, a playable character, has a Luma floating beside her no matter what vehicle she's driving. This Luma stays next to her for the entirety of the race and is part of her character. Though Luma hasn't made an appearance next to Rosalina in Mario Kart ever since then, Rosalina brings Luma into battle during the Super Smash Bros. The Luma she starts out with is yellow. And though the Luma can die with another one of a different color taking its place, it's notable that the first Luma that you will have during a battle is always yellow. The Yellow Luma has also been a reoccurring character in Mario Tennis games since Mario Tennis Open on the 3DS. As I said, Yellow Lumas are very common in Super Mario Galaxy. The one thing that they do in the game, functionally speaking, is they can transform into launch or slingshot stars, which propel you throughout space for a little bit. Not all Yellow Lumas do this, but there are occasions where a Luma will do this to help you progress in a level. Blue Lumas are seen in the Common Observatory, and don't really have much difference between yellow ones. The first one that we actually encounter is inside of the first dome, the terrace. This blue Luma transforms into what's called a pole star, a device in Super Mario Galaxy that lets you point the reticle at the screen and be drawn to it. I have a feeling that blue Lumas were put into this game just because blue stars are very common on our galaxy as well, though not as prevalent as yellow or red stars. It makes sense to have them traipsing around the observatory grounds. Green Lumas appear in the observatory after you rescue 3 green stars. There's only 3 green Lumas, and they are said to be the guardians of the Trial Galaxies. These Trial Galaxies host extremely difficult challenges using the levels that require the functionality of the Wii Remote's motion. Though a lot of people don't really care for these types of levels, I think that this is a good addition to Super Mario Galaxy, in order to give it purpose for being on the Wii. There's only one red Luma that resides on the Common Observatory. You'll find him hanging out above the bedroom. When he first meets Mario, he seems to be rather suspicious, letting you know that, I have a secret, but I'm not telling. As I mentioned in my last video, Rosalina begins to trust Mario and let him into the other domes of the observatory. The red Luma notices this. By the time you've unlocked the last dome, this red star appears in the second level of the Gateway Galaxy, letting you know that Mama trusts you, so I think I should trust you too. It's at this point that he reveals his secret to you, which is the power of flight. The red star power-up shortly gives Mario a chance to fly around the gateway in order to collect these purple coins, as well as, after he defeats the level, fly around the observatory. This power-up wasn't used anywhere else in the game, but I think that's okay. It's a very nice way to get around the observatory quickly, and a nice reward for making it so far through the game. The last of the regular Lumas is the Black Luma, and this one actually has a name, Polari. Polari is Rosalina's most trusted son. He stays near to her, he has access to the domes, and he has a unique interest in the well-being of both Lumas and Power Stars. I find it interesting that the color chosen for Rosalina's right-hand man was black. Symbolically speaking, the color black is often associated with the concept of mourning. I personally think that one of the reasons that Polari is so trusted by Rosalina is because that he's seen hardship. We don't know his past, but we know that having access to every single one of the domes, he's trusted by Rosalina, even more so trusted than Mario. He had access to them before Mario did. We don't really know anything about Polari's past, but my assumption is that he's seen trouble, he's survived, and he's become better because of it. The next Luma that we're going to look at is the Hungry Luma. Now the Hungry Luma actually gives us some insight into the natures of Lumas. This is transformation. When a Hungry Luma is fed enough star bits, he transforms into something, either a new planet or a new galaxy. Hungry Lumas give us the first taste of the nature of Lumas. And the next Luma, I would say, is a type of Hungry Luma. This Luma was never popular until the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out, but because of that, he's spiked in popularity. This Luma being Lumali. Lumali in the Mario movie has a morbid desire to die. But, believe it or not, that's not too far off from his Galaxy version. When you meet Lumali during a level, he'll offer to transform into an item if you feed him star bits. This item, either a 1-up mushroom or a life mushroom, is then consumed by Mario. I think that what the directors of this game were trying to show us with Lumali is the fact that Lumas are a transition phase. We'll get into the origins of the universe later, but we do learn that everything in this universe is composed of stardust. The Luma's job is to become something new, and Lumali perfectly represents that. Lumali shows that purpose, no matter how unpleasant, is ultimately good. I can't tell you how many times I've been saved by a life mushroom in a difficult boss battle. The last Luma I want to specifically look at is the Comet Luma. He's a type of Hungry Luma that appears in the Comet Observatory once prankster comets appear. Now, prankster comets are challenges that happen in a galaxy that sort of amp up the difficulty level. There are 4 types of prankster comets that are introduced during your time in the fountain. These being the Speedy Comet, which gives you a limited amount of time to complete a mission that you've already done. The Cosmic Comet, which forces you to race against a clone of yourself. The Fast Foe Comet, which, like the name suggests, speeds up every single one of the enemies in the area. And the Daredevil Comet, which throws you into a boss battle with only 1 life. After you defeat Bowser for the first time, Purple Comets appear. Purple Comets require you to collect 100 of those purple coins that we saw earlier, scattered throughout a galaxy. Sometimes these purple comets are timed, and sometimes they're just an unlimited exploration mission where you have an unlimited amount of time to collect them all. The Comet Luma changes the available prankster comets after you feed him, making him useful once the engine room is unlocked if you don't have enough stars to get to Princess Peach immediately. These are all the main Lumas in the game, but there's other characters I'd like to talk about as well. Princess Peach is the same damsel in distress as she's always been. This is actually something I miss about modern Mario games. Princess Peach hasn't been the damsel in distress, I don't think, since Super Mario Odyssey. Back in Galaxy, the stakes were very high because there was a character, Princess Peach, that we cared about who was kidnapped by Bowser, our enemy, and we were trying not to just defeat Bowser, but to rescue our princess. Speaking of Bowser, he's his typical self in this game, except for the fact that his epicness is ramped up. I mentioned this a little bit already, but Bowser is one of the things that makes Galaxy so grandiose. Without such a powerful villain, there would not need to be such a powerful good in order to stop him. Bowser Jr. also makes another appearance in this game. I personally feel that he's a little out of place in Super Mario Galaxy, but since he's only been around for a little bit, and Super Mario Sunshine being both his origin story as well as the last 3D Mario game, it does kind of make sense why he appears here, although I do personally think he makes a little bit more sense in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Nonetheless, some of his boss battles are very interesting, though again, I do believe they were done better in the second game. At the very latest, during your 5th Power Star run, you'll come across Captain Toad. He's just the ordinary red toad, except now he's found a headlamp and has christened himself the captain of a motley crew of a couple toads that have found their way into the galaxy. How they got there? Well, it seems that they were inside of the castle during the time where Princess Peach was kidnapped, and somehow they escaped. Captain Toad leads this small band called the Toad Brigade. You'll see them occasionally as you go throughout the stars looking for power stars. And though they don't often help, they're a fun comedy relief to have in this game. After Captain Toad makes his way back to the observatory after having met you, he starts work on building a spaceship to help you explore the galaxy, the Star Shroom. Though we see 3 different colors of Star Shrooms out throughout the galaxy, the only one that ever appears on this common observatory is the red one. I have to wonder where the other 2 go when they're not in use. When you first meet Captain Toad, he mentions that they were with Luigi, but they got separated. Which brings us to Luigi. Now, this game does something very interesting. They give us 2 different versions of Luigi. They give us the typical ordinary Luigi that we're used to, the cowardly one. We meet him during our time in the kitchen in our first level of Ghostly Galaxy. Not only do we get a star from this level, we also rescue Luigi and bring him back to the observatory. Rosalina mentions that he is our brother and that he's waiting for us to talk with us in the garage with the Toads. Now, after you complete Super Mario Galaxy, you have the opportunity to play the entire game all over again as Luigi. Luigi plays very similarly to Mario, yet he jumps higher, and he is a little bit harder to control on the ground. He slips all over the place, making intricate platforming a little bit difficult. Nonetheless, his high jumps are very useful in a lot of situations. This Luigi is an avatar. This Luigi is just a character that you are using to see the world through. When I was playing Super Luigi Galaxy for the first time, it made me realize you don't need to be all that special in order to be the good guy. Whenever I think of Mario World, I think of Mario. I think of playing as Mario. But the fact that Luigi is able to go throughout the galaxies, rescue all the stars, and ultimately rescue Princess Peach, well, if Luigi can be the good guy and do the right thing, then any of us can. I think that's the biggest thing I see from this Luigi. But I do need to say that when you get to this level in Super Luigi Galaxy, again, you are playing as Luigi, and you're rescuing Luigi. That's fun. The only thing I'll say to that is that when you get back to the observatory, Rosalina, instead of saying that your brother is waiting for you, says that your twin is waiting for you. Does this mean that there's a third Mario brother? Or does this mean that there's just someone else in the galaxy that looks like Luigi? Or is this just non-canonical nonsense that got put in here just for laughs? I don't know. I really don't. I wish I did. But I don't. Now that we're through with these few side characters, there's one last person I want to talk about. Rosalina. As I've stated, there's a long, in-depth analysis I want to do on Rosalina later, but there's a few things that are necessary to know about her immediately. The first time that we hear of her, Aluma refers to her as Mama. Now, when I first heard this Luma refer to someone as Mama, I kind of expected someone like Lubba from Super Mario Galaxy 2, not a human. I think that's kind of to be expected. When you first talk to Rosalina in the observatory, she states that these star people are her family. It's obvious from her title of Mama that she has some sort of maternal role for all of them. This is something that we'll learn when we enter the library later in depth. We also learn from the storybook that this comet observatory hasn't just been here the whole time. It was originally just a comet of ice that Rosalina ended up building a home on, to both live in and then look for someone with. More on that later. Rosalina serves as a sort of mysterious guide. Just looking at the design of Rosalina, you can tell that there's something similar between her design and Princess Peach's design, but you can also tell that there's a lot drastically different. If you've played Super Paper Mario, it's kind of like the difference between Flipside and Flopside. You've got Princess Peach, who's all cheery and happy. You've got Rosalina, who's all melancholy and broody. You can't even see half of her face because her hair's covering it. She's much taller than Princess Peach, and it's obvious also that she's much more powerful than her as well. But as we go through Super Mario Galaxy and we unlock chapters of the storybook by completing levels, we come to know Rosalina's character very intimately, and we come to a point where we can bond with her. Some of us might be even able to sympathize or even empathize with her. For what she is, I think Rosalina is a perfectly designed character, and if this was a more fully fleshed out story, rather than a video game, about jumping through space and collecting stars, I think Rosalina would be widely recognized as one of the greatest characters in all of fiction. The characters of Super Mario Galaxy are so perfectly put together because of the world. Mario is the same as he's always been, as is Princess Peach, Bowser, the Toads, Luigi, but we have new entries, we have Rosalina, we have the Lumas, and in this world, in this story, all of them mesh together so well. All of them perform their duties so well, both to the story and the gameplay. In more recent years, with games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder releasing, I feel like we're missing a lot of the appeal to a growing audience. Super Mario Wonder is more of a kid's game than anything else. And sure, that's kind of what Mario is supposed to be. But it seems to me that you can make something Mario timeless. Super Mario Galaxy does this in almost every single aspect that they have, one of the most clear being the characters that they've presented.